Well, it is the first time I come to a Sahaja Yoga seminar because every time we are different, the moment is new, the challenge is growing, and we need to move on. So I have nothing prepared for today. I just would like to say that when Sri Mataji starts her program, she says, I bow to all the seekers of truth. And I suppose that I put this in connection with the line from Gandalf in The Lord of the Ring. You know, did you hear about The Lord of the Ring? Yeah? You see, at some point when everything goes wrong in Middle-earth, and the power of Mordor and the power of Isengard is too much even for the High Elves, then Mithrandir, Gandalf, says that help is still to come from ones that we don't expect. And that help was from the humblest of all the creatures of Middle-earth, not the warriors, not the wizards, not the elves, the firstborn, but these little halflings. So I always have the feeling that someone here in this room, there is someone who is sitting here and who is the ring bearer. There's someone who is sitting here who will escape the temptations which made the higher one fall. There is someone sitting here who is a seeker of truth and who will carry the transformation to its appointed end. And to this seeker, this girl or this boy who is sitting here, I like to bow. I like to bow because we need help. It's quite a battle out there. It has been very interesting, it has been very challenging, but it hasn't been easy. Now, it wasn't meant to be easy. And in all the prophetic books, it was always stated that death would be a difficult time. Does anyone here have the Bhagavad Gita by any chance? Those of you who meet and meditate for peace at the same time and the same hour, do you remember how the Bhagavad Gita started? Arjuna was seeing in the army of the Kaurava his friends, his respected and beloved Guru, his cousins. And he sat and he said, Krishna, I shall not fight. This is my kith and kin, why should I fight just to gain the kingdom? It's not worth it. I'd rather die. And then started the Bhagavad Gita. In essence, this is a puppet show. And all in that puppet show, Mr. Saddam, Mr. Bush, Mr. Gregoire, everyone. Everybody in this puppet show has some sort of role to play. With a little luck, they can have a sense for the role. Mostly they don't. But when there is the time for war, are you going to pray for peace? Are you at the beginning of the Mahabharata sit down with Arjuna and say peace? Are you going to ask Mother for peace? I prefer peace to war. War is a doom. War is a curse. War creates boots. Boots generate evil, suffering. Nobody wishes war. But you are yogis. So what it is that we pray for as yogis? Did you get the point? I'm sorry because many people may not know English. Okay, what we need to pray if we are yogis for, if we need to pray, what we need to pray for is not for war, certainly not. Not for peace either, but for something which is called Thy will be done. It's not the same thing. And first of all, Thy will be done with me, with each of us. Because the path of growth to Sahaja Yoga is not to achieve something, is not to concentrate on something, is not to bend our little energies trying to move 2 lines ahead the cosmic plot. Our role as yogis is to discover the art of letting the power flow, not by straining. Sorry? Oh, okay. Not by straining, not by concentrating, by being. If we are what our mother empowers us to become, then it flows through us. And then the big advantage compared to concentrating and praying and having projects is that it does not give us ego. Because we can be yogis and we carry our ego. Do you know Ravana? Did you hear about Ravana? Right? Ravana? Anyone? Friend of yours? Well, for your information, Ravana was a realized soul. Was a realized soul with some powers, because he could even shake Kailash, which you can't. And yet he was Ravana. Why? Because it is possible to walk on the spiritual path carrying the ego, which becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. And the ego is, I am a Sahaja Yogi, and I'm spreading Mother's kingdom, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. There is one mantra which is, I am my own guru, but some people can put a postscript and write, I am my own fake guru. It's possible. It's already seen. It's already practiced. Now, for those of us who have this temptation, we should help such people by remembering one thing. You know, Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah, Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. There is only one God. And Muhammad is his prophet. There is only one deity, and there is only one guru for us. And that one is our mother. So everything which brings us there is helpful. So is the staircase leading there? Or is the staircase getting you glued to a step, attached to somebody? Now, back to war and peace. It's a nice subject, isn't it? Nobody has the Bhagavad Gita here? No? Okay, so Do you want to know why there is a war? Or do you want to know why there might be an apocalypse? If you do, buy the Bhagavad Gita. I would have spared you the expense if you would have it here. And read the verse 9-11 of the Bhagavad Gita. All right? All clear? 9-11, you know what 9-11 is? Okay? Now, if someone has the Gita here, I'll read it for you. If there is no Gita here, you'll have to back home and read it. That leads to the next point. You'll see, it's interesting. The next point is that I don't know anybody who understands Sahaja Yoga. I don't know anybody who understands who Sri Mataji is. I don't claim to understand either of that. I don't claim to understand Sahaja Yoga nor to understand Sri Mataji. But I see much more clearly now than 30 years ago when I came in Sahaja Yoga. And from that clarity, I can only ask you to hang on. Because you are part, we are part of something which is going to change the face of history. And even though people would like to put us in a mental hospital for stating it, the truth is that it is so. Sahaja Yoga is growing. It doesn't depend on you, it doesn't depend on me. Any one of you can step out at any time. No one is indispensable, but it is growing. It is maybe not growing in the area where you live. It is growing in so many different ways. And again, I bow to that unknown boy or girl. I bow to those who will carry this. Because all of us have a role to play, and many of you have still to play yours. Herbert Reininger, good friend, remember an old seminar we had in Austria a long time back. I tend to be a bit sentimental when I'm among Austrians. And what we said in those days, because Austrians are nice guys, despite, you know, the White Mountain and Wallenstein and all this stuff. This is over now, you know. They are nicer now, they are no longer Catholics. And one thing that we said then was, there are two realities. There is she and there is we. And we are the Vahana of she. The extraordinary dimension of Sahaja Yoga is not to get self-realization, because other gurus did that before. The extraordinary dimension of Sahaja Yoga is collective consciousness. This is why negativity always tries to attack the making of our collective consciousness. It's going to try to disturb the relationship of friendship between yogis for many little reasons, going from Moladhara up to Sahasrara. It's going to try to prevent people to go in ashram. It's going to try to create jealousies, conflict with the leaders, little groups here, little group there. Why? Because the one thing that the devil fears is the making of the horse. The white horse of the last rider is the collective consciousness of the realized souls. If I would be the devil, I would also do the same. He's a very rational chap. Now, when we are moving towards unity, it helps to understand that none of us can put out much light by ourselves. It's like the little candle that was just blown away here. One candle only leads so much, especially in a hall like that. But if there are 100 candles, you can't say where your light and my light ends or starts, but the total light is simply more effective. So I think that Sri Mataji did say many times that I am happy or I enjoy when you love each other. She wrote me once, she wrote to me once, she said, I know you love me very much, but in this way, everybody loved me. They built cathedrals for me. They built mosques for me. To love Sri Mataji once we start getting an idea of what's going on, it's not difficult. So, I think where she really relishes is when we start loving each other. Sometimes difficult, isn't it? Sahaja Yogi can be such stupid blokes sometimes, don't you think? No? We need to have protocol of the yogis. We need to see our strength and forget our weaknesses. Like Mother. When I came to her, there was a big lump of mud and a diamond, she says. I wouldn't have a clue, of course. But a diamond under the mud, I wouldn't see that. Well, what she did, she chose to look at the diamond and not at the mud. And I think that was very helpful for me. She could have legitimately looked at the mud, because it was there too. So the problem is not to see reality, the problem is to create reality. To have the vision of that reality that we want to make happen. And that we can start by understanding how the we is important. The we is the only protection against the little I. The big I is the self, so the big I is alright, but the little I is the ego, and the ego is a clever chap. You think that you pushed him through the door and it comes back from the window. No, it's not easy. When we are together, we are completely protected from that. So I was requested to speak briefly, and I think I'll stop here. I think the idea of the organizers, a privilege that I don't share, I'm here just a guest, is to ask you to ask any question whatsoever which is not completely foolish, and in any language that you want, because people can translate, and then some friends here sitting on a bench, or some of you, or whatever, would choose to answer. Is this all right? Should we go that way? Yeah? So you see, even in the United Nations, one might respect time. Okay, thank you very much.